like you told me that being out of the comfort zone is where improvement happens, right?
Yeah, man. I mean, do we just want to hop into it? Is the podcast
We're just
started?
going to talk, and I'm just going to make a smooth intro at some point.
Oh, this is amazing. I love it, man.
Is
I love
this
what you
your
got going
first
on.
like off the cuff shit?
Yeah, dude, I mean, this is how I like most things to go. This is how I know I'm usually in good company. And this is kind of how I do my show too, and people are always really into it because it's different. It's I feel like a lot of people expect to do the rounds, be on the shows and hear the same 10 questions elaborated on, like if you could go back in time and give yourself advice, what would it be? And all those generic questions. But really, if you let a conversation unfold, the takeaways usually end up being way deeper because there's not an agenda. So it's like if something amazing comes up, we can unpack it, and if not, we can keep shooting the. Oh yeah, quick question: Can we curse on this show? Or
absolutely, do whatever the fuck you want.
We can keep shooting the shit until something good comes up. So I like what you have going on here.
Yeah, thank you. Also, take your time and think what you want to say. If you need to, you can get comfortable, do whatever. It's all in the ears.
I like it. I like keeping it audible for a reason, right?
Yes, it's you meant to pay attention to it. It's not a background thing.
Yeah, man. I've seen some clips of, just to bring up a controversial person right off the bat, I've seen some clips of, Jordan Peterson, the psychologist, and, kind of, I mean, if you have been paying attention to like social philosophy and psychology lately, you know his name. And I've seen something where he'll be in a conversation in front of, thousands of people, and he'll get asked a question. And before he responds, he's so considerate about what words he's going to use that he'll take a brief pause in front of thousands of people. And it won't even be brief. It'll be 10 seconds. He'll sit there and sit back, his chin's back, his posture's good. He's upright. He's thinking, and well, you see, with that dilemma, and it comes off where every word he's about to say is really thought out.
Yes.
And that's something that I want to work on, because I tend to be, you find yourself in the middle of a sentence and you're like reaching, trying to catch on to the next words, and the concept is kind of being birthed while the sentence is being birthed. And then, in Jordan Peterson's mind, it's more like, let's come up with the concept, come up with the words to explain it, and then let the sentence flow. So I appreciate your encouragement to take that extra second off the bat.
Absolutely. It's powerful. Even when you tell a story, it's powerful to leave people waiting, build that tension up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
so, what was your? Sorry, after you.
Just quick. In editing, I won't like cut everything so it's perfect flow. Right, there will be some of that tension left in there for atmosphere. So it's all thought out. Anyway, please go on.
Yeah, no. I think you can leave that in the show too, because I think your audience cares. I mean, I'm honestly curious. What brought you to this concept, thought Pantheon, and maybe the people listening will be interested.
Oh no, you're doing the thing I'm doing. You're doing it on me.
I'm interviewing you. Welcome to Fitness Forever, whatever, guys. This is my podcast.
Actually, before I answer that question, please do tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Oh, good point. And they're listening and they're like, who is this guy? So, my name is Chase Barron. I am a personal trainer based out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And it's been kind of cool how the media and training have intertwined, because before I was a personal trainer, I went viral on YouTube for doing 100 burpees a day every day for 30 days. And then I went down the YouTube. Yeah, I went down the YouTube fitness rabbit hole for a while and made a bunch of videos. And then lately I've kind of found myself in a different, like my mission state kind of changed from just inspiring people to take action in their everyday life, to take one small step at a time to improve their own bodies. And what I was doing is trying to affect as many people as possible in a small way. And now I'm in a chapter of my life where I'm trying to affect less people in a more concrete, profound way. So I'm taking some time to step a little bit out of YouTube. I mean, I'm still creating, but not as much as I was before, And I am personal training at a local gym. I'm personal training in my house, and I'm personal training a handful of clients online. And if you want to know any more information about training, subtle plug to my website, chasebarron.com. And
and what is the gym?
So the gym I'm training in, if you're in Pittsburgh, it's called Fitness 19, open 19 hours a day. So yeah, just walk in, ask for me. And if you are a member, the first session is free with me, which a big thing that I'm into is like, hey, if we do our first session and I don't think I am the right guy to achieve your goals, like, that's cool. It was free. It happened. And I'm going to let you know that. So yeah, right now the name of the game is just real results, real people, real progress, and really refining what Chase Barron can do to help people right now. So speaking in the third person, I am Chase Barron is taking some time to become the best personal trainer he can. That's what I'm up to.
Become the strongest version of yourself and inspire others to do the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And that's exactly what this podcast is about. Well, it all started with the idea of creativity, because as photographer and game developer and all this other stuff that people who already heard the first episode know, there's just the creative process to me is so fundamental to existence that I truly wanted to explore that. And it doesn't matter what somebody does. Like, I feel even what you do is creativity. You're creating something, you're putting something new into the world, or, forming something, people, things. And I wanted to find these people in the world and have a conversation with them that people can listen to and that people can grab onto and think about in relation to themselves, to the world, to their own creativity and fundamentals and whatever else they need to think about. And thankfully, in that sense, the first episode was an absolute hit, because I kept getting messages from friends like, I would listen to the podcast and now I picked up writing again, something I haven't done in years. Or, I picked up drawing again. I really thought about what I want to do in life, all kinds of stuff like that. And it was hoped for, not expected, and super, super welcomed when that happened. And that's, I don't want to say a goal for this podcast, because I also want it to become its own thing. So whatever it goes, but that's kind of the fundamental of it, I think.
Oh, I love it. I love this. I like that you have, I know you don't want to pin down exactly what this show is, but I like that there's a subtle focus on creativity and how fundamental that is to really expressing and experiencing all that there is to life, right? Because to create, it means to, manifest something
to become.
New. To become. And I mean, there's a difference between just having a job where potentially you're just doing labor work and clocking hours, and then actually being able to create. And I think when you can do that and find meaning in the creation, that's where you find people that are at least on the path to being fulfilled and live fulfilling lives, no matter what that really means.
Yeah.
When we talk about like personal training and how you said that's even creative in a way, and I would say 100%, it's almost like I'm coming off of, I got into this after being in a band and pursuing music for like the better half of a decade. Like it was like the focus of my life, playing music, writing music, being a musician, expressing feelings. And I almost think that what I do now, as far as changing lives, like writing personalized programming, looking at someone's body and all the different ways that we could move it and articulate it into a long form thing where we're talking about ideas that you just plant seeds in people's heads, and then they go out into life and try to allow those ideas and those seeds to grow into trees. Like whether it's just a little tip about nutrition, whether it's a new, workout routine that they're going to do 3 days a week. It's like, what kind of ways can I present this to them? Can I construct it to, into one way, sometimes it's about making the idea seem like it was theirs, but it's just such a creative process. And coming off of the heels of music, I look at effective trainers and trainers that don't even know it, because I'm a new trainer and I'm learning from other trainers. And when I see them, it is, the trainers that are great at getting results, great at making changes. It's an art. They know how to talk to people and assess people and make their programs so specific, even down to the way that they communicate the program to the people. It is such a high form of art. And to realize that the outcome of that art isn't a painting, it's not a song, but it's somebody who lives to be 70 years old with the ability to have an overhand reach to hold their children up above their head.
Someone that badass.
Yeah, it's really badass. I just, to create, like, the output of your art is a generation of healthy old people. It's like literally improved life. And that's kind of the driving force behind why I am so driven to keep doing this and to refine it, and like why I'm really kind of taking a media step back a little bit right now, just to focus more on, getting better at that, because there are people that are crushing it, and I just look at them and I'm like, you think you're a trainer, and you are a trainer, but like you're also a social artist, and fitness culture sometimes gets a bad rap because I think a lot of people are out there just trying to make money, sell fake supplements, do all this yada yada yada, but it gets tainted because there's this whole subcategory of just like pop music, right? Like,
yeah,
you got your pop music out there that's just like generating money, and then you have like millions of like really tiny artists that are, it's like your local restaurant that's just amazing and it's way better than McDonald's, but it'll never be on that scale. Like, I could sit here and say that music is the worst thing ever because of pop music, but no, music is amazing, and you just need to find the right people to express that to you. And now I'm rambling, but that's
beautiful. Keep going. Thanks, speak your heart.
No, I like what you it's just that initial thing that you said about this being about creation, and you've inspired people to create. I think that everyone, no matter what your career, what your path is, can be a creator. And there might be another trainer listening to this that hasn't thought of it like this, but the minute you frame it like that, or at least potentially maybe it's just me and my personality type, but when I frame it like that, I am much more driven to get the job done.
Yeah, there's a deep purpose to it that speaks to you in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's where a lot of creativity comes from. There has to be a deeper meaning behind it. I mean, you said you're a game developer. I imagine that that is no simple task, right? So you probably have a deep why.
Yeah. The deep why was I was sick of video games and decided to make them myself.
That's great.
It's like something disappoints you enough and you're still passionate and deeply in love with it. What else is there to do than just do it yourself?
Yeah. I guess if you have the time and inclination, what is it that, makes you think that you can just do it yourself? Because I know that a lot of times even I experience the setback of, hey, I'm interested in something, but even if it's as simple as painting a picture, which is a lot easier than developing a game, there is a sense of resistance as to like, why do I think I can do that? Do you know what I mean?
I absolutely know what you mean. There is a set of books I recommend on that by Stephen Pressfield. One is The War of Art, and the next one right after is Do the Work. And those books, combined with a bit of Doom Eternal, have taught me to just rip and tear through that resistance and just get shit done.
It's amazing.
I've dealt with that. I've dealt with that in the past a lot. One of the breakthroughs I had was we really needed some animation done for the project, and one night I went to sleep and I was like, tomorrow I'm going to wake up and I'm going to learn animation from scratch. And I woke up, I turned on my Twitch stream for accountability, and I sat there until I finished an animation, and that took me 11 and a half hours. And I didn't want to sit in, and just, it felt so good to just get that done. And now we needed animation, I'll just quickly, do something with like improve that skill as I go. Because like you said, painting a picture, but you still got to start with the lines, right? So you gotta learn that basic shit to you got to draw stickmen to get to Mona Lisa.
Yeah. And the thing is being okay with the stick men that you're drawing. Because this thing I think happens where I see it's similar getting into something creative as well as getting into fitness, where people always think that it's too late, right? And you look at someone else that painted something amazing by the time they're 16 years old. Like culture is so obsessed with people that are young that are doing amazing things, but then you got to remind yourself, like, I don't know, like J.K. Rowling, who wrote the Harry Potter books, I feel like she didn't start releasing them until she was older in her life. Like, just to pull something random, I'm just thinking like Colonel Sanders. Like, he probably didn't start slinging chicken until he was like 60, right? So like it's so easy to think that everybody out there found their path when they were 15, just because that's what you see online. But I run into this trap too with personal training and with YouTube, because those are like the two things I do.
Yeah.
There are trainers even in my local gym who are younger than me, who I know are better at the craft of training than me. And I let that get to me sometimes, but then I got to remember there are also trainers who didn't know they wanted to be trainers until they were 45. So it's like, all right, this whole I can't start now because I'm too old thing, it's not even something worth judging, unless you're just watching television, because that's all anybody wants to report on. But there are YouTubers out there, a lot. I mean, it's probably skewed. I feel like it's a young crowd online. There's a lot of like YouTubers, quote unquote influencers, that are very young, that are doing something artistic, that are probably doing what you want to do. Like, I know that like they're probably game developers, they're probably artists that are all like, the young people blow up, and it's cool because it's amazing that they found their thing at such a young age. But if you're experiencing that resistance, I think a big thing is that you think it's too late to start, and it really never is. Just be Colonel Sanders in whatever you're doing, right? And just be okay to find that new ambition, no matter what time it is, because comparison trap, it really does nothing but put you down.
Comparison is the theft of joy. We all gotta remember that. It's why I try. Well, I'm past that myself, so I no longer compare myself. I just find inspiration in things that are better than me. But sometimes people will compare to stuff I do, and I'm like, no, don't compare yourself. Be inspired by what I do. Take elements from it if you need to. Work with it. Build upon it. Just whatever it takes, but don't compare yourself. You're just doing yourself a disservice, and a disservice to whatever you're going to create. And as far as the life thing goes, it's funny because a few months ago I had a conversation with a family member, and she's getting old, but she's like, learning new things. Like, I don't know computers. And I'm like, why don't you learn it? It's like, I'm old. And I'm like, you're not dead, so start learning it. And she's like, yeah, you're right. It was sounded more inspirational than that, but it's like, what are you gonna do? It's like, die instead? It's like, no, I guess as long as I'm alive, I might as well do something with it.
Yeah, be a student forever, right? Yeah. I notice too that like with the people that I coach online, I've like sometimes switch up the technology and the way I deliver it to them. And I work with like older people, people that are in their 60s. One guy's in his 70s even. And like they're the people that actually can stick to something and adapt and change are the people that are willing to learn new things. Like, I'm like, hey, can you download this app? And I'm just going to send you your routine through it. And this 70-year-old man's like, yeah, I have a smartphone. I'll do it. And, I'm like, yeah, that's exactly why you're winning. That's exactly why you're 70 and you're winning. Yeah. Because you didn't look at this new technology like something to, to say, oh, I'm too old for that. Like, that's something for the new kids. No, you just said, all right, it's out. I'm alive. I'm going to adapt. I'm going to try it out and see what's here for me. And I think, just being okay, not being complacent, always knowing that you can learn something from everybody. What a beautiful thing. Like, life looks better when you look at every person out there. Like, when I look at you, I'm like, this is such an opportunity to learn, like I know that I'm on your show, but like I'm so inclined to just throw questions at you because
please do.
You know, like,
it's a conversation.
Yeah, amen, man. Because even the store clerk at Aldi, you know, I don't know, whatever your grocery store is, like everyone can teach you something. Yeah, that's.
I feel a lot of it is probably conditioning as well. I would say, not even probably. I would say a lot of it is conditioning because I feel like those people that are old and are like, I'm too old for this shit, they probably had that mentality throughout their life as a whole. They probably, you know, I know young people who are like, oh, I could never draw. It's like, have you tried? It's like, have you picked up a pen? Or this mainstream view of, you know, talent. I personally don't believe talent exists. I think it's just skill. You got like those shows like This Got Talent and That Country Got Talent, and it's like all I'm seeing is years and years of hard work that those people put in to showcase those talents. I'm doing air quotes. Mm-hmm. So I think it's, you know, some people catch the shit end of that net of like just being conditioned into not trying, to just being complacent.
Yeah, it's I actually had someone put it to me in a really funny way, and you know, I realize that I'm not saying your name all the time because I don't know if I'm going to pronounce it right.
Go for it.
Is it Wolfgang?
Yeah.
Wolfgang?
Actually, I'm not rigid on a pronunciation of it because I love hearing how people say it in different ways. So any way to say it is correct.
Okay, because I love, like, in conversation, I usually make a point to, you know, address people by name, and I'm like, you know, we're like a half hour in, and I'm like, I'm always afraid to just butcher. I'm like, all right.
It's good that you just go for it, yeah.
You see, all right, so.
And even if you're not consistent with it, that's fine.
All right, cool. I'll change it up. All right, Wolfgang.
Perfect.
All right, Wolfgang. What we're gonna do is, so actually, what I was gonna say is, I had someone say this to me when I was thinking about, branching off and changing my direction / mission statement, and like starting to coach people online, get a job at a gym, and like transition into this new life. Someone told me, he's actually a business coach, and he told me, like, don't be afraid to be great, you know, because I feel like talent, this whole concept of, oh, he's just talented, oh, I couldn't do it because he's talented, like that's a fear in your head that you're afraid to be great. Like you're afraid to allow yourself to put in the time to be amazing at something.
Absolutely. That's goes a bit into this deep hole in like the concept of psychology and shadow work, what is called shadow work, where you start learning to have fear of success, because if you become successful, you basically die. Your identity goes away, and that feels like death. And even though your physical form doesn't die, your ego will switch up. It will dissolve and attain a new form in which you're successful. And to some, that is horrifying. And it's subconscious and hard to deal with, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if there's no struggle, you know, if there's no battle between, there's no other way to put it than like good and evil, right? If there's no battle between, like what you want to put out into this earth, and then this resistance to you being able to do it, because like behind everything you want to do, there's like some values, and if there's no push and pull, then there's no reason to keep going, because the whole purpose of like using energy to do things is that you need something to push against. Like there needs to be this opposition in order for you to keep going. Like if you became successful and everything worked in your favor all the time, you would have no reason to keep exerting force to accomplish things, because there's nothing to push against. The thing that comes to mind is an old episode of The Twilight Zone where this guy, he just wanted to have it all. And one day he almost got into a car crash. I think that was what it was. And then he wakes up the next morning and everything goes his way forever. Like, he enters the lottery, he always wins. He goes gambling, always wins. He like eats all the best food, like never gains weight, and just everything is falling in his favor, and he just goes insane. And he says that he, at one point he says, like, I just want to like die and go to heaven already. And then he finds out, I forget how exactly it played out, this was so long ago, but he finds out that he was already in hell, that he died that night, and that hell was this place where there was no resistance, where there was no pull, and it was all push, and everything came into his hands when he asked for it. And he realized that like this just meaningless existence of like hedonism just was hell on earth, right?
Yeah. I mean, as a person who has, because like you're talking to somebody who doesn't really have resistance anymore, at least not, it's still there, it comes and goes, but it's not there like just holding me down all the time. Life still gives you challenges, and I feel that's the real hell there, because there's no life in hell, right? So life can be like, listen, we got to switch it up a bit. But there's always a challenge. It even if it goes well for a while, it's like, I think Eckhart Tolle said, it comes in waves. You'll always have periodical challenges, and it's about welcoming those challenges. And the push-pull for me becomes, this is the stuff I'm going to do. There's absolutely nothing that's going to stop me. The challenge becomes in maintaining myself well enough throughout it, being smart about it. That becomes the push or the pull, whatever, for it. Is how can I do this in a super effective way, super efficient, and make sure that I actually get to the end, because I could just go hard for it and then not take care of myself and people around me and my environment, and then just it all comes crashing down. But it's that, stay in that flow, right?
So you said that you don't feel too much resistance anymore.
Yeah.
What did that process? I know that you recommended some books but what internally, and what process did that look like? How long? Because I know you can't just read a book, but you have to apply it into your life. Like, how did that shift slowly happen for you?
Well, it was a couple years, 2 or 3 years. And the first thing was those books did have powerful like words that resonated with me. Might not resonate with everybody, and that's what it is. But I didn't even read them both. I didn't even know there was a second book. I just read The War of Art first, and I just rummaged through that for a while. I read it like twice. And in that book, he puts resistance as he talks about it as a force of nature that's never going away. And I was like, fuck that. I'm gonna figure out a way. It's like, I'm not just gonna believe everything you tell me. And I kind of like, prior to that, I already have many years of just self-improvement and stuff like that, because I'm super passionate about that. And basically I've just been learning everything there is to learn about human behavior and myself and meditation and mindfulness and all this psychology, everything that, I like to dip my toes into everything to see what's going on behind the scenes. And so I already had that foundation of many years of work on myself, and learned how to identify different aspects of myself. And so I kind of identified the voice that was kind of the resistance. And I mentally imagined it was like a squeaky inflatable dragon. And every time that thing would show up, I would imagine myself in this like, like very dramatic, like dark room with just one spotlight from above, like cartoonishly. And I would just destroy that dragon in various gruesome ways, like in the moment. And it would keep coming back. It would keep coming back for another thought, and later on. And I just kept being like, oh, here you are. Smack. Come back later again. Smack you again. And that was many months of that just mental exercise, I guess. And now if resistance shows up, it knows it'll just get destroyed in 2 seconds.
Yeah. And
that was kind of my
that.
process, I think, that I can like put into words and that I can remember at this point.
It's so like, and it's a uniquely you process
Yes.
too, because you're you're an artist, a game developer, and I'm sure I haven't seen a lot of your work really, so I need to dive into this. But I mean, I'm sure that that symbolism is like reflected in what you do. So like your
Probably.
method of overcoming it is only something that you could do, right?
Yeah,
Like I can't write that down and do it.
No, that's the thing. Everybody has to figure out whatever that is for them in their journey, and it'll be different, and it might be harder, it might be easier depending on who you are, and that's okay. You just have to decide. There is this really awesome video on Instagram. I don't remember who he is, but I will check it out and put it in the video. He's a poi performer. Those like ropes with balls at the end, and they like spin around with fire and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like, tutorial on how to do poi. First step, pick up the poi. And he just picks him up. He's like, you got him? Great. That was the hardest part. He's like, and then he goes on this like video about like that first step is the hardest fucking thing you'll do. And from there, you've taken that first step, you've already decided what you want to do. And you might put it down for a while and you'll come back. You'll definitely come back if it resonates with you. And if it doesn't, you'll find something else. But that first step is that fundamental decision that will, it's like that promise to yourself that will guide you, that will guide your actions.
I'm so stealing that too. Like,
please use it. Use your reach and engagement and whatever else stats.
Yeah, I mean, even if someone's like training with me, I'm like, all right, you ready for this one? Like, we're just gonna walk into the gym, and I'm like, there we go, did it. That's the hardest part right there. Oh, I love that. That is so cool, man. With your background and like interests and everything, Wolfgang, I want you to give me some advice, because the biggest thing, I don't think that I really feel that much resistance, but the biggest thing I feel right now is I feel like I've been transitioning for like a year, but as
you will keep doing that.
Yeah, as I continue to ride the waves of life, right? There's the thing that I notice in my creative efforts, right? I'm always trying to put things out, put messages out. I just always feel like I can never do enough. How do you end that?
Oh, that was a journey that just ended recently for me.
Yeah, man. Because I want to put out stuff, and it's not because I've sat back and I've really assessed it, and I've been like, do you just want to be popular? Do you just want like to make money? And I've gotten real, and I've written down my values, like declared my mission statement, and I really do just want to help people and have my longevity in mind and be able to, live a life where I sustain and help people, including my family, like including my fiance and our beautiful furry dog. And this all comes down to just putting out good into the world. But then there's this voice in my head that like, if I'm not putting out enough stuff, like, come on, man, get to work. Like, I know you're trying to put good out there, but you're not putting enough good out there. What is that? How do I undo that?
Well, there's no undoing. It's just kind of releasing it. But it's funny because I actually left a comment, and I think it's the only comment I ever left on one of your videos. And it was, you were doing these shorts about different things, and you're like, post the comment with the emoji, and it'll get shown up in the next video. And it was the episode before the one about rest, about sleep. And I put a comment that said, get good rest so you can be your best. And you replied to that. You probably don't remember it. That's fine. And that's, you have to fill up your cup to be able to help others, right? Your cup has to overflow. And if it doesn't, then how are you going to give the best help possible, right? It's quality over quantity. It's hell, the last episode of this podcast was a year ago. Right? Like, I wanted to make sure that the person that comes on is perfect for it, that I'm in the perfect mind state for it, that everything about it is the best it can possibly be, and be so powerful that people are going to sit on it for a while and not have to worry about, like, oh my god, when is the next one? I need more. And we do live in the world of the next hit, right? Next dopamine hit or whatever else it is in the brain, in the body. And I conscientiously take a step away from that. I always have. I've never been interested in just going. And yet I caught myself in that trap many times. I, for a long time, just kept going hard, and just in life in general. And then I would come crashing down, and I'd be like, why is this happening? I don't know what is going on. And one of the biggest changes was my osteopath. Visited her a couple times. I got to be more in touch with my body and just understand what the hell's going on, and understand when I'm being tense and when I'm being relaxed, and those, you know, the rest and digest and the hunt whatever states and all that stuff. And I was like, holy shit, I am just constantly tense, and it feels normal. So through meditation, I kind of learned to take that path and learn to rest more. And sometimes, like, if I feel like if I feel like I cannot give the best quality of what I do, I will just fuck off and sleep for like 20 hours. It's like, fuck it. I need to take care of myself so I can give you guys the best shit that I can possibly give.
I like that. I like the to acknowledge the actual switch that gets flipped in humans when you go from parasympathetic to a sympathetic response.
Exactly.
And like, that's something that, you know, as like a trainer, you look at, and you want to get people acting in more of a fight or flight in the gym, and then just like, can we turn that switch and get back to rest and digest immediately? We have this problem with our whole planet right now. We have a lack of diaphragmatic breathing going on, because there's a constant sense of tension all the time, and everyone is just up here because I got so much to do, and every time I breathe, my chest rises, and like, I haven't breathed into my diaphragm in so long, and it actually echoes into a bunch of postural issues too. So like, I noticed that a lot of people have really weak cores and really tense chest areas, and it echoes into forward facing posture. Definitely not helped by the whole like technology revolution and everything, but it pulls you forward. It makes your core a little weak, so you develop pain in your lower back, and we get spinal issues as not only as a result of this, but now you're making me
self-conscious about my posture.
Yeah, I know, but it's so funny. Well, it's not funny, but
everything's funny if you're willing to laugh.
yeah. If you don't take life that seriously, hey. But you know, even right now, when you were talking, I started breathing more into my diaphragm, and I notice I'm immediately just calming down a little bit, because those physical signals do help you switch gears. And along with that comes the biggest physical signal, which is just be there. Be okay with just, you know, to be okay laying down on the floor, not doing anything. Like,
spend time with yourself.
Spend time with yourself. So you said you got into meditation. What does that look like?
It can take many forms for me. One of them is, I don't know if this exists in some other form, but I never looked into it. I just do it for myself. Active flow, which is I rarely do it, and I haven't done it in years, but I've done it at like pivotal moments in my life when I'm like, I can be depressed again, or I can figure this shit right now. And what I did was just speak out everything that came to mind, and participate in every movement that I felt I needed to do in the moment. So jumping, flailing, whatever, you know, moving my hand this way, that way, this or the other, and just continuously just letting out everything that comes to mind. So whereas, your normal meditation is you're just sitting there or laying there, and then you watch your thoughts like on a TV screen, and we watch them drift away. For me, it was like, no, I'm just fucking letting them out of my body verbally and through movement and anything that I needed to do, and just let those emotions exist and manifest, and then get out. Because truly, this is what, like I said, shadow work earlier, that's what it is about, and I didn't even know what that was at the time. Is being aware of those subconscious, because shadow work, the shadow is the subconscious. That's the whole point of it, the whole concept. And somebody put this very, very well, is, when a toddler goes to their parents and is like, mommy, 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 I want to show you something, and they'll just keep going, mommy, 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 until you pay attention to them and see what they want. And they're like, well, as soon as you gave them the attention they required, they will just go do something else. And that's exactly how our emotions work as well. From my experience and everything I've learned, is you have to give it the attention. You have to listen to yourself in the same way you would listen to a friend's problems. So you're like, okay, what is going on? Like we said, you got to spend time with yourself. You have to sit down and get to know yourself like you would another person. Because it's like, who is going to do it? You're the one that has the whole spectrum. You see everything in there. Even if you're not directly focusing on it, you feel it throughout your life. And then eventually, you figure it out and you realize that you've been feeling like that with your life. So that's the catch. You get used to it, and you don't know. You think that's just me. But, as a fitness instructor, that's just me is a million things at the same time working together. Chemistry and emotion and whatever else is thrown in there. So, man, I feel like I jumped everywhere. What was the initial question?
No, I mean, it's literally, that is what you just gave me, though, is an expression of what I asked, because I was like, what I just asked something so vague, which is, what does meditation look like?
Right.
And, when personally, I'm a huge proponent. I got into it a little differently. Like, I want to say that my meditation journey has been amazing and profound, but really I got into it a couple years ago by buying Headspace, the app, for a year, and learning from that. And it's honestly a fantastic tool. But I would say meditation is that. It is looking at those thoughts, identifying them, and understanding that you are not them, but they do deserve, they're there for a reason.
Yeah.
And they're like cars, and rather than running out, and they're like cars shooting in a bunch of different directions, and rather than running out and trying to direct this insane amount of traffic, and all right, all these thoughts need to go over here into this lane, and all these, you're no, you're
that's not how it works. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not gonna undo this traffic jam. You're just gonna look at it and be like, okay, there's a traffic jam. Underneath it, there is a bunch of solid pavement. And what can I do to, connect to that pavement that everything's on top of, right? And just, you're going to get lost a lot of times. And some of the cars are going to be so loud and honking, and the driver of the car is just screaming in your face, come on, pay attention to me. But
and you just got to,
that's okay.
You got to get in the, what is it called? Co-pilot seat. And just be like, hey, dude, what's going on? Yeah, just ask the driver, hey, what's up? Tell me what's going on.
I know you're going somewhere, right? This thought's trying to take me somewhere. So let's see what's inside of it. And, if I talk to a lot of friends and people that want to get into meditation, they're like, I could never do it. I can't sit down and quiet my mind. And it's not what it is.
It's not about quieting the mind, yeah. It's about listening to your mind. It's about allowing it to be raging and loud, and participating in that, even as a spectator, just without, this is the big important thing, is without judging them. The moment you listen to your thoughts or experience the emotions, everything you need to feel through your body, the moment you go, why am I like this? You have to start over, I feel. Or, you got to take a step back and be like, hold on. Just no judging. It's just I'm watching a show. theatrical piece or whatever, and just let it play out. And then once it's done and out, I can be like, oh, okay, well, that was like that. It's like an audit. You have to be objective about it. Oh man, what was I? In the middle of that sentence, I had another thing that I wanted to say.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's
so many
it's hard
things
to talk about meditation because there's so many aspects of it. Like, yeah,
I remember.
Snap.
Since you talked about the diaphragm, which is funny because we also talked about that like this week when I was asking you about it. About
about like working out, and I'm like, hey,
with
man.
the 8-day challenge, yeah.
Yeah, diaphragmatic breathing, bro.
Yep. I was like, yo, that's lit. I'm not fatigued as much anymore. It's awesome. Yeah. And I've just been practicing that throughout the day, just remembering to breathe.
I love it.
Yeah, it's awesome. And it goes into that. It's, we have the energy points, the 7. Well, some people call them chakras. I'm just going to say energy points. And it's when you know which those are, one thing that I like to do, and it actually helped me identify trauma, because trauma's stored in the body, right? It's physical. It has a physical manifestation. Be it like if you're trying to protect yourself, and you might feel more rigid and more tense all the time, or and it's about kind of like taking that breath. And for me, for example, was the solar plexus. Solar plexus is right under the ribs, right? And it was about breathing into that point and seeing if there's any resistance. Pretty simple concept, I think. If anybody has difficulty with it, that's okay. And just like breathing into it and seeing if thoughts come up, if feelings come up, if memories come up, and just letting them re-exist for a while, just relieve them. Relive and relieve. Damn, I should be a public speaker.
Yeah, that was
I mean, technically I am right now.
Yeah, that is good.
And just taking all those points and just breathing, into your belly, into your diaphragm, into your chest, into your throat, into your face. Just kind of like focusing your breath on there and see if anything comes up. And if you feel any sort of like lumps or anything, just so to speak, like emotional lumps, there's something to explore there. If it's just a normal breath, in and out, then there's probably no trauma stored there. This has been as purely experience for myself. And just a few weeks ago, I realized that I had trauma that it was subconscious. I didn't realize about it. It was just like some memory that from long ago, and I like breathed into that, and I relieved it and allowed myself to feel the emotions and whatever it was related to it, and listened to it. And another thing I do is just I allow any sounds or anything, like not just emotions, but anything to come out, be it tears, sounds, whatever. And I was basically not imitating, but I was vomiting without the vomit. Like I was just like, I was feeling the energy come out of my body, and it felt putrid, and it's like, oh, it's been here for so long, it's rancid. I felt like I was going to puke, and I knew I trusted myself that I was not going to puke, and if I did puke, that was going to be fine. And I just let it all out. And after that, I just felt a hole there, but not a hole in the sense that something's missing, in the sense that something's being relieved. There's now space there where that thing was. And I felt that physically. I felt like there was no longer this like just like constraint in my solar plexus, in my chest, in that area. And fuck, I'm sure this scientifically might make no sense, but this was my experience with it, and it was powerful. And that's basically shadow work.
Wow, I mean, that is deep, but I think it's also potentially. I know it sounds like an internal journey, but it's also potentially external as well. Because if you're holding, a weird amount of tension in a position in your body, and you just relieve like the slightest little bit of tension, like people that carry tension in their shoulders too. This thing happens all the time where someone gets a professional massage and they get their shoulders relieved, then they feel like they have less worries.
Absolutely. That's why they say drop your shoulders, right?
Yeah, exactly. Stand tall, chest forward, shoulders back. I mean, there we go. So you got to get the standing desk. I don't know if you noticed, but
I'm working on that. I'm getting a standing desk.
but it's no, I think you're right. It's like we could talk about it from a muscle perspective, but
Please
I think from
do.
an emotional.
Bring your knowledge to it.
All right, cool. Because from a like just the simplest analogy of what you just said to me is like that trauma was like a rock in your shoe. And
Pretty
I
much.
think that people like go with, a tiny pebble in their shoe and they'll like forget about it. It gets there, you notice it for 10 seconds and then you keep walking. You're like, I'm not going to take it out of my shoe right now. Then,
but it fucks up the way you walk and you don't even notice.
Yep. So, yeah. So then through the rest of the day, you forget the pain of the rock, but you're hobbling a little bit, right? Like you forget about but you're hobbling in such a micro way.
What the hell's going on?
Yeah, you're hobbling in such a micro way that you don't notice it. Like then by the end of the day, like maybe that echoes into discomfort all around the rest of your body.
Exactly. All around the rest of your life.
Yeah, and then the only way to really remember the rock is there and to stop focusing on the rest of the discomfort is to quiet everything else, to stop moving, to lay down and scan your body and be like, oh wait, there it is.
Yeah, turning off all distractions.
Yeah, and focusing on these different parts. This thing happens in yoga where you get into shavasana, lay on your back, and you just do a body scan. And when you do the body scan, you need to take a breath and check in with every different part of your body. I'm talking like as someone who's got these stupid diaphragms of muscles on his wall over there, I try to breathe into every muscle I can think about. And through the process of that, you realize so much. It's like, oh, I didn't even realize that my neck was tight. But if you did this, and I haven't, I'm guilty as charged. I haven't done this to seek trauma. So like I'm taking notes from you. Like I want to lay on the floor and find the tension and not only think like, oh, my neck is sore because I spent yesterday editing on my computer with a little bit of forward head. Like that's why. But to look at it from maybe to take some of the science out of it and not be so analytical and to look for those subconscious reasons that I might be holding tension, just to go back to the parasympathetic versus sympathetic state. Like
absolutely.
What's going on internally really has a huge grip on what's going on externally, and it's a delicate balance, man. These worlds are so intertwined that it
well, it all is, right? All life is intertwined, and that's why I like exploring every aspect of it.
Yeah, it's messy. I think what you have going on, I think that what you're doing here on this podcast, I guess, is really cool to just analyze the complexity of life and to look at it with a little bit of that creativity lens. But as a trainer, as like talking about this thing that we're on right now, which is stored tension and trauma, it's really so hard to tackle one without the other.
Absolutely. You gotta expand yourself to and if whoever's listening to this, you don't feel like you don't know which way to even go to start doing stuff like this, just start learning. Open YouTube, and the first thing that comes to mind that isn't a distraction, the first thing you actually want to learn about, search for it, find it, look at it, because it's something that you probably deeply resonate with if it came to your mind in the first place. And maybe it's something that you need, and it might take years, it might take months, it might take weeks. I don't know. I don't care, and you shouldn't either. You should just go. If you want to, no pressure.
You got to change the order of operations, though, because you said, like, I'm just going to, just for the listeners' sake, because you said, like, open YouTube and type something in that you're interested in. You got to figure out what you're interested in before you open YouTube. Because you open YouTube, they're going to give you recommended videos, you're screwed. You just
go right to that search bar, you look at nothing else exists, and you take a moment and it's like, what do I actually want to know? Like, what is this? What is something that I'm just always wonder? Like, and even if it's just like solution to your problem, just be like, how to blah blah blah, and then fucking go through it and look at hours and hours of content of self-improvement and everything else. You're gonna find wild shit. You're gonna find stuff you're gonna resonate with. You're gonna find stuff you're not gonna resonate with. You're gonna find stuff that you're gonna resonate with, think you understand it, then look back at it years later and you're like, wow, I was dumb. Holy shit. This person said something completely different. But you're going to pick up from it what you need for that time in your life. Especially with the reticular activation system, if you focus it on that, just focus on like, what do I need right now? What do I want right now? What do I for my journey? Then it's just kind of, your brain's just kind of going to pick that shit up, because your brain's already knows everything that's in your body, right?
Yeah.
And it'll shoot, like, you don't have to think about pooping actively. You don't have to think about your bowels moving. Your brain does that shit, so trust it to do the other stuff too.
Dude, yeah. I mean, I love that, like, you just expressed it, like, throughout life, you're going to go down so many nooks and crannies.
Yes.
Like you're on this path, and then, like, it's okay to take a sharp left turn, go 2 miles in that direction,
And turn around.
and then turn around.
Yeah.
Come on back.
Yeah.
And even if it's the simplest little thing, like, how intoxicating it can be to follow your bliss, right? Follow what's driving you, follow what's giving you energy, and just learning about it. Because I notice in myself, and I actually love that I document so much online, because I can go back and see, like, when I fall into things. And maybe it's with, like, fitness, like, there are phases, if you go through my stuff, it's like all about lifting heavy weights. There are phases where it's like all about adopting the right mindset that just allows you to get into the gym. There are phases where I'm like so into mobility that it's like almost annoying. It's like, all right, we fixed our mobility problems, shut up already. But like to see it, like, I'm like, all right, the different paths, they all had value because they all created who I am. And then there's different paths where, like, I'll just get obsessed with, like I recently was obsessed with The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild on the Switch. Like, I played it nonstop.
Shout out to that sit position. It's so fucking difficult, but so worth it.
Yep. Amazing, right?
Double L, was it called, or something like that?
The 9090.
The 9090, right. Much better naming schemes.
So even, like, I'm so ridiculous that even when I play video games, I'm, like, working on my mobility, right? but I noticed that, like, I could do this. Like, I go down paths where I'm just so into The Legend of Zelda that I said, hey, let me listen to all the podcasts about The Legend of Zelda. Like, I was seriously like going in, watching YouTube videos about video game creators, like understanding the philosophy behind why they came up with this. Like, I cannot, like, I remember I watched The Office with my fiance, and, like, I would have to, like, watch all the interviews with all the actors. Like, I can't just not, but, feeding that has resulted in a life that I like. And, I like the nooks and crannies, and they're not going to be forever. And I don't regret being obsessed with The Legend of Zelda for 2 months, even though I'm not obsessed with it now, and it's not really paying off in my professional career. It's following what your brain craves. If your brain is craving healthy things, and, like,
if you focus it on that, it might, right?
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, well, your heart probably will.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know what I'm saying, other than don't be afraid to go down those nooks and crannies.
Yeah.
Just know if it's a nook and cranny that's not serving you, there's probably a good time to jump out. Like, if I did nothing but study, well, I don't know. I mean, maybe if I did nothing but study why video games are made, I could, like, make a successful YouTube channel about it. Like, it could be a passion, but it's not, like, my mission statement. So I had to jump out of that side path.
But what matters, you explored it, yeah. And if you trust that information, eventually it will become relevant, from my experience. You're just gonna fucking go somewhere one day, and it's just like somebody's gonna need help with something, and be like, oh, I know this.
Yeah.
I passionately explored that thing many years ago, and because it was with passion and it had emotion behind it, I get to remember it. It wasn't just bullshit. I chose it. I put feelings in it, and now I remember everything. I can help this person, or it can help me with something. Yeah.
No, the more you know, the more people you can connect with.
Yeah.
Because that's how it really plays out. Is, like, I have a fitness client that likes video games, so, like, I got to talk to her about that. And then, like, if you go, like, I spent, like, some time baking bread, and, like, I have someone else that, like, loves to bake bread, and it's just like never be afraid to allow yourself to know things, because you can chat about it. And, like same with you, Wolfgang. Like, we're both into this, like, we're doing very different things, but we're both into understanding the machine that it's all running on, like the meat vehicle that we're in. Like, what can we do to optimize this vessel to allow us to express what we're trying to do here.
Exactly.
And So that's what connected it, and I don't know. I'm happy it did.
Yeah, you're gonna make a like 30 incoming. I did shadow work for 30 days, and this is what happened.
Yeah, dude, I don't even know where to start.
There's a bunch of shadow questions that you can start with that I can just shoot you in the DMs. From the top of my head, it's stuff like why am I a failure? Why am I not successful? Why do my parents hate me and not disappoint me? Stuff like that, which even if it's not true, it's worth asking just to see if something comes out.
That's what I ask myself every morning while I'm brushing my teeth in the mirror. I'm just like, why am I a failure? No, I'm just kidding. But no, I like that a lot, man. I do want you to send me that, because even like tonight, I'm going out of town. I'm getting away from my computer, going to my fiance's place. Like, those will be some good questions to gnaw on tomorrow morning. Like, because I get up before everyone else. Send me some questions.
I absolutely will. If none of those questions resonate, what you do is you just sit in front of the mirror for like 10 minutes and just wait and see what happens. See if there's a voice in your head that comes in and just like, you little shit, you worthless scum. It's like, whoa, okay, go on, continue, tell me.
Yeah, let's go there.
Yeah,
I like it. Well, hey, I just want to let you know I have to split it at 1:15 my time, so
all right,
10 minutes.
We'll wrap it up with what are your plans besides everything you've said so far.
Yeah.
Which, hey, people, I'm probably not gonna post a lot of shit, following this, but he will, unless he works on that quality versus quantity thing.
Yeah. How about that?
But give him a follow on Instagram and YouTube, because I'm sure he will probably make some content about this as a follow-up, and then see where his journey took him and see if you find even more inspiration in that. But besides all of that, what are your short-term, long-term plans? And after that, what just is something that you can tell people?
I like it.
Whatever's on your heart, whatever you think somebody will resonate with out there, you're like, I don't want to say closing statement, more like a opportunity invitation.
Oh, I like that. And I've been thinking, I know exactly what I'm going to say, because I have been thinking about this. So this is good. I might have to start with that. But okay, so here I
gotta leave that one for the end to give people that boost.
Yeah, I know what I'm going to say at the end now.
Perfect.
So the first thing before I say like who I am, or before I say like what I'm up to, what my plans are, and like where you can find me, is that when you reached out to me, Wolfgang, about like being on this show, you gave me the brief concept, and it's crazy. Like, I'm the kind of guy that just schedules meetings, and like my calendar lately looks kind of like Tetris, like between like weekly check-ins with clients, and then like showing up to the physical gym now, and like random, like I'm like, okay, 6 a.m. this dude's gonna be in my basement ready to train here.
Well,
like,
at least like, it's not Mahjong.
Yeah,
Tetris is a good place to be.
yeah. So it's great. It's all organized, and I could have just been like, "Hey, let's get on the podcast immediately." But because the way you presented it, I was like, "I want to be in the right headspace for this." Because I noticed that you hadn't released many episodes, and that you were trying to be in the right headspace. And I'm like, "All right, I need to do this on like a clear day, like on like a Saturday or something." So I'm glad this came together, and I'm glad that I didn't have this in like a back-to-back meeting zone. Like, I'm coming fresh off of just a morning of like, I went for a long walk, I did some mobility work, and I've just been writing fitness programs for people, which was cool because you jumped in and I was like, oh, that was really creative of me, wasn't it? So yeah, my plans moving forward is to keep being creative with programming, and to really, I want to impart these. I'm trying to put myself through a process of really leveling up and potentially doing it more on a stage. Because as I really solidify my transition into personal training, I'm currently like stepping out of another day job that I'm involved in. So I'm stepping back into content creation a little more. And I think in the future, what you can expect, without setting expectations for myself, is a little more honest content coming from me. Like, I want to expose more of the dirty side of health and fitness. Right?
Yeah, and let people be inspired by that.
Yeah, because it's really what hits people hard is like where being authentic about what you're struggling with. Because I've been, when you're getting educated, getting certifications, training people, it's like, all right, what can I do to help and help and help and help and help? And right now I just want to like turn a camera on. Like I have this hunger to just learn how to vlog in a way that's helpful, like to just turn a camera on and be like, this is reality.
It's time to feast.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's where I'll be, and I'll always be on YouTube and Instagram. And if you just type in Chase Barron, you'll find me. And
you will find the links as well in the description. So
thank you. And if you like want to take your training seriously, I honestly am full on online clients. I realize that I can't take on any more without sacrificing the quality of what I can give them. But maybe that'll change. So just hit me up.
Just following him on Instagram is pretty great, to be honest.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I feel like you got to just give. You just got to give free stuff as much as possible. And then, the free short form stuff leads into the long form, which is
absolutely
which is like talking and actually being there. But the thing that I want to leave people with is I want to talk about it from a fitness perspective, but this applies to anything. Is, I was thinking about, how do I sell personal training to someone, right? And it's not even money. It's just like, how do I sell someone in a positive way? Like, how do I sell someone on the idea that taking their fitness seriously could be helpful, right? Like, I'm not even trying to sell you a product. Like, I am not, like, if someone tries to train with me, I'm not trying to sell you my services. I'm trying to sell you the idea that maybe a coach could help you in a lot of different ways. Like I'm currently paying for a business coach. I currently paid someone to write my own fitness programming, and understanding that having coaches is okay and having mentors and
absolutely
figures, dude, huge. So my thing to you is that to the listener is, if someone is being authentic and trying to, it's like I thought I knew what I was going to say, but now I don't know how I'm going to say it, because internally what I realized recently is that when I want to sell someone on training, on the idea of taking their health and fitness seriously, or on the idea of anything, it's not a plug, it's a possibility.
It's an invitation.
Right? Yeah, it's an invitation. So if I'm leaving people with anything, it's that taking this meat vehicle that you're on, this little sack of organs and tissues that you're on this weird space rock hurling to infinity. Like the idea that optimizing that space rock, I'm not trying to sell you anything, but I'm just trying to say, here's an invitation. Here's a possibility. Maybe taking some time to look at the meat vehicle and optimize it will allow your consciousness to exist more optimally in this crazy vast universe thing. And in turn, not a plug, just a possibility.
And in turn, make that crazy vast universe better.
Exactly. It's not selfish. It's that when you're a better meat vehicle, you can do better things, right?
Yeah, for yourself and for others.
Took me a long time to get there. Thanks, Wolfgang.
Happy to help. And with that said, Chase Matthew Barron, welcome to the Thought Pantheon.
I'm happy to be here, brother. This was great. Thanks so much, man. You are
as well.
Amazing.